The Toronto Maple Leafs are pain incarnate. After another incredible regular season, the Toronto Maple Leafs actually did something for once in their goddamn lives and made it out of the first round, and then proceeded to lose to a vastly inferior Florida team after chanting that they wanted said Florida team. At the very least, you weren't the most embarrassing team to lose to Florida, but yeah, Toronto is still a shit show that has done nothing in the playoffs of note, and that's coming from a guy who's rooted for the Capitals his entire life. Toronto Maple Leafs, here's why I hate your stupid fucking team.
I never heard of half of these guys. The ones I do know are way past their prime. Most of these guys never had a prime. This guy here is dead.
Cross him off then.
Now, the Toronto Maple Leafs went into this offseason needing to lock up their key players on the forward side, namely Austin Matthews, which they did. With him and Marner still having 2 years left on his deal, the window is still wide open for this forward core. They also added some more young talent like Tyler Bertuzzi and John Tavares, and the 20-year-old Matthew Nyes out should be taking on a bigger role this year. On the third line, they brought home Ty Domi's son Max, and they can fill out the rest of the middle six with Kalle Jarnkrok, David Kampf, and even 22-year-old Nicholas Robertson if he manages to prove himself. It's such a solid and deep forward core. The only thing that's missing is maybe a little bit of sandpaper and leadership. I'm sure there's a guy out there you can get for pretty cheap. Okay, Ryan Reeves, a little more sandpaper than I would have liked, but he has the veteran leadership as long as you didn't sign him to 3 years, $1.35 million? You do know that Ryan Reeves is 36 and also terrible, right? Okay, look, maybe I'm being a little harsh. You know, $1.3 million, not the end of the world. If that's the worst contract that they sign, it's not the end of the world. You can eat that money. Oh, dear God. Why the fuck would you give John Klingberg $4.1 million a year? You just paid sticker price for a lemon who's coming off of one of the worst possession and defensive seasons I have ever seen. I mean, thank God it's only a 1-year deal, but still, paying that amount of money for Klingberg is mind-boggling. And the fact that you're going to have to slot him into the top 4 defensemen is even more mind-boggling. And that top 4 is going to be the Achilles of the Maple Leafs this year. Of the 4, Morgan Rielly is the only one that I can say with certainty is a really good defenseman. With TJ Brodie, it's been very up and down. Klingberg, as I mentioned, is coming off an atrocious season, and Jake McCabe has a ceiling that is slightly above average. I mean, the fact that the third pairing has the geriatric Mark Giordano and Timothy Liljegren back there is not going to be Toronto's downfall. They could do a lot worse than those two. And in fact, I think it's only a matter of time before Liljegren cracks that top 4, maybe even ending up on the top pairing, because he's better than every one of those top 4 guys other than Morgan Rielly. In goal, you got Ilya Samsonov, coming off of a career year when he decided to stop letting in the most boneheaded goals at the worst possible time. Joseph Woll may be his backup right now, but in his limited NHL showings, he's been pretty damn decent. It would not shock me at all if Woll becomes a full-time starter at some point during this season.
Anybody got an idea?
Despite the fact that the architect of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Kyle Dubas, was let go, Sheldon Keefe is returning behind the bench for the Maple Leafs again. Now, he did manage to lead them out of the first round, which is apparently a minor miracle by Maple Leafs standards, and the Maple Leafs rewarded him with a contract extension. I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad decision, but what I am saying is that there's no real evidence that Sheldon Keefe is a good NHL coach, rather than just an average one who has benefited by having elite talent to cover his deficiencies. Seen here puckering up for his first kiss ever, Keefe somehow seems to have a lot of job security going into this season. And that's surprising because when a new GM comes in, like Treliving did here, typically they want to at least leave themselves the flexibility to bring in their own coach. But then again, I forgot the fact that Treliving is, a moron.
Who the hell are you?
I'm the new guy.
While the reason Klingberg contracts were both laughable, their term wasn't so bad as to completely cripple the Maple Leafs. They got both Tyler Bertuzzi and Max Domi in at big money deals for just 1 year. They also added Martin Jones as goaltending depth, but if I was honest, Maple Leafs, I would just forget about him. Just leave him on the shelf in case Samsonov and Woll both go down in some sort of freak accident. And even if they do, I would still go to the Zamboni driver as a goaltending option before I'd go for Jones.
You gay Irish fireman, you're okay, but you I do not like.
Austin Matthews has that attitude and moxie that I really think the NHL needs a lot more of. Obviously, he's incredibly skilled, he's got that wicked wrist shot, and he's got some silky mitts on him too. If Toronto is smart, they will make sure that Matthews is in the blue and white for life, because I truly think if they do, he will end up as one of the best players to ever wear the Maple Leaf. Playoffs are a given, it's what you do in them. Just like with Edmonton, it's time for Toronto to stop fucking around and win more than one playoff series. With 3 forwards as good as Nylander, Marner, and Matthews, if all 3 of them are healthy, you should be expected to win just about every playoff series you are going into. Yes, of course, there's a chance that Samsonov shits the bed and lets in a softie, but I don't want to hear the excuses this year, Toronto. Take it from somebody who's been through this shit before. It's gonna happen for you. It's just a matter of when.
Giordano